Hey everyone, today we're going to dive into a technology that's paying off in a huge way for Ohio's farmers and property owners. We're talking about drones. And no, not as toys, but as some seriously powerful tools that are completely changing the game.
So let me just start by asking you a question. What if you could actually know there was a problem before it cost you your yield? I mean, what if you could spot things like nutrient deficiencies, or pests, or water stress, long before your own eyes could see them?
Well, it turns out you can. The whole promise of this technology is getting that bird's eye view from 400 feet up. It's an advantage that just cuts right through all the noise on the ground and completely redefines what's possible.
But, to really appreciate just how big a deal this new view is, we first have to talk about the hurdles on the ground. For any modern farmer, it's this constant battle against cost, risk, and of course, the clock.
Okay, let's start with the financials. $185. That's about what it costs per acre to operate using the old school methods. When your margins are already razor thin, a number like that is a massive pressure point.
But the cost isn't just about dollars and cents, right? There's a human toll. 1 out of every 5 ER visits for farm workers is because of a fall. I mean, that's a staggering risk just to do basic stuff like inspecting silos or equipment.
And finally, there's time. It can take up to 2 full weeks to walk a field and map it out by hand to find a problem. In farming, 14 days, well, that can be the difference between a small, easy fix and a total disaster that takes out a huge chunk of your crop.
So you've got these huge hurdles of cost, risk, and time. How in the world do you get over them? Well, the solution requires a total shift in perspective, from looking at the ground to looking down from the sky.
And this really shows the difference in a nutshell. The ground view is like trying to solve a puzzle when you're missing half the pieces. It's slow, you don't have all the info, and you're always reacting to problems after they've started. But the aerial view? That drone gives you the whole picture. It's fast, it's complete, and it's predictive. It lets you see problems before they even get going.
At the end of the day, that's what this is all about. These unmanned aerial systems, or UAS, they take the guesswork out of farming. You're not making assumptions anymore. You're using precise, actionable data to manage your land in a much smarter, more strategic way.
So how exactly does this make a farm smarter? I mean, what is this special data that turns a view from the sky into real action on the ground?
It all starts with something called NDVI, which is, it's basically a health scan for your crops. Drones with special sensors can see light that we can't. By analyzing that light, they create this incredible map that shows you exactly which plants are healthy and, more importantly, which ones are stressed, way before you'd ever be able to spot it yourself.
And this is where that data becomes action. That NDVI map literally becomes a prescription. It tells your equipment exactly where it needs to apply fertilizer or water, and, just as important, where it doesn't. This variable rate application is a game changer, especially for Ohio's fields, which are often irregular. The old one-size-fits-all approach is just super wasteful.
And all that efficiency, well, it translates directly to your bottom line. So let's take a look at the real financial impact of this data-driven strategy.
The numbers here are pretty striking. Remember that $185 cost per acre? Well, with drone-assisted agriculture, it drops down to around $120. That is a direct saving of $65 for every single acre you farm.
And here's how you get those savings. I mean, it's incredible. You're using over 45% less pesticide, you're cutting labor by almost 2/3, you're mapping your fields 95% faster, and the result of all that efficiency? A potential yield boost of up to 26%. It's the classic definition of spending less to make more.
And look, this isn't just some theory. These are real-world case studies from farms right here in the Midwest. They're seeing a full return on their investment in as little as 16 months. For any piece of farm equipment, that is an incredibly fast ROI.
But the dividend from this tech isn't just financial. It also pays out in 2 other areas that are just as critical, making our fields safer and our water cleaner.
Remember that 1 in 5 statistic about falls? Drones address that head-on. They get rid of the need to climb ladders to check on silos or to go into dangerous confined spaces like grain bins, and you're not exposing your workers to chemicals during manual spraying.
This quote just says it all perfectly. It's a simple truth, but it's so powerful. By keeping your boots on the ground, you are just fundamentally making your entire operation safer.
And there's a huge benefit when it comes to environmental compliance, too.
Ohio's H2 Ohio initiative requires you to prove you're managing nutrients responsibly. Well, those same prescription maps we talked about, they give you a precise, geo-referenced auditable record. It's the proof you need to show you're putting inputs in the right place at the right rate, protecting Ohio's watersheds.
Okay, so it saves money, boosts yields, improves safety, and it simplifies compliance. You might think that's the whole story, but there's one more piece to this puzzle that makes the investment even more attractive, and that's the tax code.
So here's how it works. Under IRS Section 179, you can deduct the full purchase price of the entire system, the drone, the sensors, the software, all of it, in the same year you start using it. This isn't something that's spread out over years. It is an immediate first-year tax benefit. And the process is actually really straightforward. You buy the equipment, you put it to work for your business, you file the correct form with your taxes, and you deduct the entire cost. This tax break significantly lowers your net cost and makes that return on investment happen even faster.
So really, it all comes down to this question. This technology offers a smarter, safer, and more profitable way to manage and protect your legacy. Because the view from 400 feet, it isn't just about seeing your fields, it's about seeing their future.